What's up, Hot Take Hockey? It's John, and it is the NHL trade deadline eve. Tomorrow is the big day for trades. We've already seen a lot, and today, that's what I'm here to talk about, the trades that took place today. We saw Rick Nash go to Boston. We see the longtime Montreal Canadian Thomas Plekanec come to my Maple Leafs, and we also saw a couple smaller deals, but Mark Letestu goes to Columbus in technically a three-way deal, but we're going to talk a little bit about that. But the first trade today was Rick Nash to the Bruins, and that gave them enough time to let Rick Nash actually play tonight. I was watching a little bit of that game. The Boston Bruins lose to the Buffalo Sabres 4-1. Rick Nash with no points in that game. So not a great start for Rick Nash on the Boston Bruins tonight. The Bruins, obviously, 2 straight losses. They lose to my Leafs last night. But I'm going to talk about this trade. So the Boston Bruins, who do they get? They get Rick Nash, 28 points in 60 games. So obviously, not the Rick Nash we saw about 5-6 years ago. And like $7.8 million. I think it was a make or break deal if there was no salary retained. So obviously 50% was retained from the Rangers. So only 3.9 is against the Bruins. The Bruins also unload the contract of Matt Bolesky, but the price is they also have to retain half of that. So they have about 1.9 against the cap, approximately around there for them, for the Bolesky contract. They also unload Ryan Spooner. So you saw Ryan Spooner on that second line with David Krejci. Now, basically, that will be Nash's spot if everything goes well for the rest of the season with Krejci and Jake DeBrusk. And then Ryan Lindgren, obviously the American prospect, a defenseman. He should be in the Rangers organization for a long while. He's only 20 years old. Not great stats, but at University of Minnesota, about 33 games, 9 points. So not horrible at all. And then the first round pick was essential in a trade for Rick Nash. And then a 7th round pick was just kind of thrown in there. So a pretty good trade for both teams. I think it was huge for the Bruins to get rid of that Bolesky contract finally. Get a couple contracts out. Maybe they make another deal tomorrow. But I think it was pretty important they clear it up. So they sign a guy. They signed today, Brian Gionta. So they bring in Brian Gionta and Rick Nash, 2 veterans that can help them on this run because the Bruins are a little younger this year compared to other years we've seen from them. They unload Ryan Spooner. Like I said, Bolesky. Lindgren wasn't a huge prospect, but he looks pretty decent. And then the first round pick, like I said, was pretty important in that deal. But like I said, shout out to Von Hook. Shout out to Aaron Lawson. I'm going to talk a little bit about my Leaf trade. So Thomas Plekanec, for me, my first initial thoughts, I'll be honest, it's like, oh, a Leaf trade. Us Leafs fans get really excited for trades. I was really excited for the trade, but it's just initial thoughts. It's just tough because Thomas Plekanec has been a Montreal Canadian, has played the Leafs 4 times per year, like minimum. So it just, for me, initial was just tough. It's just tough to envision him in a Leaf jersey on the other side. But then once the actual everything kind of sinks in for me, a great veteran guy that can play both ends of the ice, a great face-off guy, above average for sure. Not bad stats at all. Like I just talked about Rick Nash, 28 points in 60 games. Thomas Plekanec just has 24 points in 60 games. Not bad at all for a guy that's been playing probably 3rd-line minutes for Montreal, maybe 2nd line at times. But for this Toronto Maple Leaf team, he'll be playing 4th-line minutes. So I think adding a little bit of more offense on the 4th line with the guys like Kasperi Kapanen and Komarov, and then adding that defensive end with the faceoffs. I think Dominic Moore is not bad at faceoffs at all, but I think Thomas Plekanec, not much bigger and taller. He's about 5'11", but he definitely adds a little more of a presence on that 4th line on both ends of the ice. And like I said, with the faceoffs, what the Leafs give up, well, the Leafs also get Kyle Bond. Not much experience there. I think about 150 games in the AHL, probably about 58 points, I think it is. So there's that. But the other side of the deal, they trade Renat Valiev, a defenseman from the Marlies, as well as Kirby Reichel. And Kirby Reichel, they got from Columbus for Scott Harrington. Obviously left exposed in the expansion draft. Not really a guy that they see right now as becoming an NHLer. Same with Valiev. Maybe he becomes that fringe 6th or 7th guy on an NHL team, but I don't see it much of a future with the Leafs. So I didn't see it. He's gone now, so there is no future for sure. But he's on. They're both with the Canadiens now. So the Canadiens is just kind of a low risk reward kind of thing. And then they get the 2nd round pick, which I think was the ultimate price in the end. It was just kind of exchanging of contracts. So the 2nd round pick, I would say, is a pretty fair price. I was thinking for other guys like Letestu. Letestu's price was only basically a 4th round pick. We're going to talk about that in a second. But Plekanec is definitely an upgrade over Letestu, or better than Letestu. So a 2nd round pick, it's whatever. You see the Bruins price for a guy like Rick Nash, and the stats aren't that far off. And Plekanec is a center, and centermen are hard to come by in this league. So I do appreciate that on the Leafs end and Babcock's need to get that. Shout out to Rob Ivan. Shout out to Audie James. Shout out to Brody. Shout out to you guys for being here. Like I said, I'll be live for most of the day tomorrow at some point, probably like 12 to 3. I think that's when trade deadline usually picks up, around 12. I might go earlier if I feel like a lot of stuff is picking up in the morning. But I'll just go through your comments quickly, guys. I think the Leafs, Audie James, will do at least something else tomorrow. Whether it's just for that depth defenseman or that top 4 defenseman, or even for another forward, or trading away a forward. I could easily see them trading away Josh Levo tomorrow. I could easily see them trading Matt Martin tomorrow. I think I've talked about it in previous videos. I think Matt Martin would be needed, maybe not needed, but I think he would be big in a series against like Boston or like Washington. We saw how well he played on that 4th line with Kapanen and Boyle last playoffs against Washington. I think in a rough series like that, what we saw last night, the Leafs did beat the Bruins, and I feel like they dominated that game. But in a 7-game series, which I feel like against these teams it will, Matt Martin might be crucial to be in that lineup. But I feel like we could definitely see a Levo trade tomorrow, something like that, or for that defenseman. Will it be McDonough? Will it be a guy like Mike Green? Like I said, Toronto and Tampa, I think they're in the same boat. I think Boston, we've seen in the past, is more willing to is kind of more loose with their assets, and that's no chirp in any way, but I think Boston's more aggressive. Where Tampa and Toronto, they've been very patient with their process, especially Toronto being the more recent team on the rise. So I don't think Toronto's going to strip anything, get rid of good prospects like Liljegren to get a guy like that, unless it's a really good deal for them in the future as well. Aaron Lawson says Pittsburgh for the Cup. Audie James, I agree. Plekanec with Kapanen is pretty huge now. I think Kapanen's been trying to be that playmaker on that line. I think Kapanen needs to shoot more, and Plekanec can give him the puck, I think, a little better than a Dominic Moore would. Rob Iman thinks Nashville's going to win it. Robbie, shout out to him. He thinks the Leafs made a good trade today. And Thomas Vanek, yes, he is being held out of the game against the Coyotes tonight. So expect a Vanek trade either tonight or tomorrow. If not, it's just precautionary. And he already said if the Sedins come back, he would be willing to sign a 1-year contract with the Canucks. Will Karlsson get traded tomorrow? Von Hook asks. I think it's likelier that he stays. I think obviously in media, we have our stories going, but I think at the end of the day, there's been a lot of talk, but from reports and such, but it's just Erik Karlsson. We're talking about Erik Karlsson, who, despite his struggles this year, last year, we were talking about him being 3rd best player in the world after Crosby and McDavid. Like, this is a guy that last year was the best defenseman in the league, and this year, to me, is still, even though he's having a rough season, is still at that caliber, is still worth what he's going to get. Maybe not up to what he's going to ask for, $12 million plus. But for Karlsson, for me, I think it's going to be a tough trade to make. I think teams that could do it right now would be like Tampa Bay, Toronto. I think there's a couple selling teams that could do it. I think even the expansion team Vegas, who's surprised us, I think Vegas could do it, but they don't want to strip guys like Eric Brandstrom, who I think is going to be a great defenseman. I don't think Vegas is up for that. I think Rob Iman, I agree. I think Vegas stands pat, unless it's a very smart trade for them. I don't get what I did with the Pittsburgh Penguins. I think it's just an appreciation for Marc-Andre Fleury, or like people are saying, it was to keep Brassard out of the West, but who knows? But I'm just going to talk a little bit. We potentially, or I shouldn't say, I don't know why I use the word potentially, but technically we saw our third three-way deal today, but technically it was separated. So Pontus Aberg from the Nashville Predators goes to the Edmonton Oilers. Mark Letestu goes to the Nashville Predators. But then Nashville, literally like minutes later, it's reported that he gets flipped to the Columbus Blue Jackets for a fourth-round pick. So basically it's a three-way deal. Nashville gets the fourth, Edmonton gets Aberg, and Columbus gets Letestu. So you can basically just say it's a three-way deal. So that was the third trade of the day. And then Bolig and a depth player. I have it right here. Honestly, like I'm going to be honest, I haven't heard of this player before. It's a goalie, Grozenek. So that's just for a sixth-round pick. That one I don't even need to talk about. You guys know Bolig, just a rugged player, fourth line, max. Can fight if you need him. I think we're kind of past that enforcer stage. I think that's why we're seeing a guy like Matt Martin past his even Matt Martin, who can actually, in my opinion, can still play somewhat. Even a guy like Ryan Reeves, Pittsburgh, I guess doesn't value, but yeah, Rob Iman. That's what I'm saying. Like I literally haven't heard of that goalie before. A career AHLer for sure. Like I looked up at his stats, and there's nothing special there. So Von Hook says, I think Erik Karlsson will go to the West. So basically, my thoughts on these trades today, I think as much as Yzerman's not going to want to strip or take a roster player, I think they're going to feel tempted to do something tomorrow. You see Boston get Rick Nash. You see Toronto, even though Thomas Plekanec is their fourth-line center now, I think Tampa's going to want to do something tomorrow because right now Toronto is second in the Atlantic, and I don't care. Boston now has still 4 games in hand. Toronto went through the tough stretch. Okay, they have 4 games in hand. Boston in March, good luck. I'm just letting you know, if you go look at their schedule, I don't think they have 2 days off. Like, they are very, like, I think a couple times I saw where they play this Saturday night, they have the Sunday, Monday off, but, like, not much. Boston has a tough schedule down the stretch. Very tough. I think the Leafs, Bruins, and Lightning are pretty secure in those 3 Atlantic spots. So maybe the Lightning just say, we don't really care. We just want that first or second home ice advantage. But at the end of the day, Toronto and Boston could easily catch them. So I think Tampa Bay might feel tempted to do something. But Boston with Rick Nash now and Toronto with Plekanec, that's definitely up front. That's like Boston right now. Like, let's look at Bruins. Okay, so the Bruins only scored 1 goal tonight, and that was their top line again. But now, if they do something else, but I can't see them making another trade. They've made 4 already, I believe, as of 2018. But anyways, first line, Pasternak, Bergeron, Marchand. Second line, Nash, Krejci, DeBrusk. Third line, Riley Nash, Backus, and Danton Heinen. Sorry. So that's, I don't know, like that's pretty good top 9, like very good. The Leafs, I think the Leafs, that's where they get the extra jump. I think now their all 4 lines are a step up from the Bruins. And I think the Lightning were already there. I don't think the Lightning need to make a move up front. And I think that's the only thing that they're looking at is to get that defenseman. Erik Karlsson, I think that's definitely one of the top options. For Rob Iman, Von Hook, you Sharks fans, there was a report a couple days ago that the Sharks are a silent killer in the trade negotiations for Erik Karlsson. So no one really knows what's going to happen with Erik Karlsson. But I do know one thing, and I'm pretty certain on this from what I've seen from All-Star, from Erik Karlsson's talk, from his like behavior, and how Dorian's talked about it as well. I believe 100% he's gone before the 2018-2019 season. Like, I'm saying 100%, okay, like 99%. Like, I can't see this going into the next season, Erik Karlsson still being a Senator. So for me, if he's not traded by the deadline, he's for sure traded in the offseason. I can't see how it's going to go longer with Erik Karlsson in Ottawa. From just this year alone. Like, if you go look at last year, it's crazy how so much can change in 12 months. Like, it's not 12 months yet, but like I think it's just going to get worse by June. And that's 12 months as of last year when they were 1 goal away from going to the Stanley Cup final. Last comments before I wrap this up, guys, and I appreciate you guys joining these streams. Tomorrow, please hit up my stream. If you don't want it permanently, I would suggest you put your notifications on just for tomorrow. Join me at some point. Talk to me about the trade deadline. I'll be watching it live. So if you can't watch it, and especially for you American viewers, I would say TSN is arguably the best coverage for trade deadline. I'll be watching it live, and I can give you full coverage on that as well. So for you American viewers, I highly suggest you join me tomorrow during that, I would say, high time for trade deadline from 12 to 3. They're going to start probably 8 or 9 a.m. Eastern time, but I don't think we're going to start close to that early. So maybe 12 Eastern. So for you guys, 9 Pacific. For the other guys, sorry. So Aaron Lawson says, Tampa, go get Karlsson now. Von Hook says, Mike Green to Tampa. Elvin, shout out to you, Elvin. Do you prefer Nylander as a center or winger? He asks. I definitely prefer him as a winger. He actually played pretty decent tonight, and I've said it time and time again. He has the playmaking ability to be a centerman. It's not that. I hate when people go, oh, why don't you think? No, he just can't play defense. You see him get out-muscled pretty easily. And I even said to someone else, I honestly think because effort, it counts. And I think Marner actually sometimes is better defensively than, and that's hard to say for me because they're both very poor in the defensive end sometimes. But Nylander gets out-muscled. He's not very aware. You see him kind of coasting around at the blue line. And I think Austin Matthews does it sometimes, but Austin Matthews is very aware and has that 200-foot game. But Nylander definitely gets out-muscled a lot and is definitely not aware like a centerman should be in the defensive end. In the offensive end, he's unbelievable. You see that pass he makes to Mitch Marner last night, but I think, like I said, playmaking abilities, yes. Defensive ability, no. Can that improve? Yes. He's very young. So, Elvin, to answer your question, right now, no. But I don't think there's any other choice when while Matthews is out, unless they make another trade. What if Backes gets traded to a really good team? Dallas asks. Bruins are in a run, man. So Backes is not going anywhere. Rob says, get my baseball notes together. Man, I don't know if that's like hitting at your Sharks. I think your Sharks are fine. Everyone was complaining about the trade. It was just like pointless, but it's whatever. Rob and Von Hook says you'll be busy tomorrow. Okay, well, at some point, I hope you can join me if you got a sec or a break or something. Nylander to a different team. Dallas says no. Nylander's staying. I don't care about the McDonough rumors. He's staying. So thank you guys for joining me. Rick Nash to the Bruins. Thomas Plekanec, to Toronto. Mark Letestu to Columbus. Those are the 3 headline deals I would say in order right there. And then I think rumors. I think Thomas Vanek. Look out for Vanek. Look out for Evander Kane. I still think look out for McDonough. Who else can we say? I mean, the Sabres and like Oilers are 2 teams I feel like want to do a lot, but just don't have moving out. So like for me, the big one for the Sabres, like I just said, is Evander Kane. The big one for the Oilers is Patrick Maroon. The Blues have lost 4 straight now, and they're out of a playoff spot. So there's been some talk. Maybe they change their mind, but I think they still run the course and make a deal tomorrow. Detroit Red Wings, Mike Green, like I said, possibly Nyquist or Tatar. The Dallas Stars might want to add a defenseman. I've suggested before Oliver Ekman-Larsson, and Ekman-Larsson has not been talked about because of Erik Karlsson lately, but I think Oliver Ekman-Larsson stays till the offseason as well. Like I said, Panthers still think that they have a chance of making it back, and they're not too far behind, actually. They have some games in hand, so maybe they make a deal tomorrow. But I think that's basically it. I think there was Minnesota talk with Pacioretty. I'm just trying to get all the rumors in my head right now to you guys. But yeah, Minnesota, Montreal wanted Charlie Coyle. That doesn't seem like it's going to work out right now. Nashville was talking to Rick about Rick Nash. That didn't work out. Everyone was excited about them getting Mark Letestu, but they just flipped him. Maybe Mike Green, maybe Erik Karlsson, but they won't give up Tolvanen. I think that's basically it for rumors. I think the Senators, if not Erik Karlsson, are going to at least make one deal tomorrow. I can't see Dorian finishing it off with the Brassard deal and just calling it good. Like, what was it, 2 days ago? I think he definitely makes a deal tomorrow. I think right now, the last 2 days, he's been cooking up something else, or Karlsson trade for sure. So thank you guys for watching. Those are my just quick trade rumors for you guys. Please subscribe. I've been putting a lot of effort into this channel, especially the last week for trade deadline. So I'll be on tomorrow. Hope to see you guys there. Any of you guys, if you guys want to, I've been talking to some people. If you guys want to ever collab, get involved with the channel. We're always up for the help, always up for suggestions on the channel. Tell us what you like about the channel. Tell us what you don't. Like the videos. It helps us out a lot. But subscribe. When I see this channel build, when I see this channel grow, it makes me want to do more with this channel, give more to you guys that are watching. So please subscribe, like, and comment one more time. And thanks for watching. And please join me tomorrow. Big NHL trade deadline. They think it's going to be one of the biggest in the last decade. So, all right. Have a good night, guys, and peace out.